He ruled with fear, strategy, and a fist of iron. Necati Arabaci wasn't just a biker. He was the most feared Hells Angels president Germany ever saw. Dubbed the Godfather of Cologne, he built a shadow empire across Europe, dominating drug routes, sex trafficking, and club rackets with ruthless precision. Arrested in 2002 on charges ranging from human trafficking to extortion, he even plotted a hit on the prosecutor from behind bars. But prison couldn't stop him. After deportation, he rose again, this time leading the Hells Angels in Turkey, linking criminal networks from Istanbul to Berlin. With a Europe-wide arrest warrant still hanging over him, Necati remains untouchable, terrifying, and unchallenged. The outlaw emperor no one dares cross. From the rough streets of Cologne to the darkest corners of the outlaw world, Necati Arabaci's path wasn't your typical rise. Born in 1972 to Turkish immigrant parents, his early life was marked by the struggles many immigrant families face, grappling with identity, fighting for respect, and constantly searching for a way out of the margins. Growing up in some of Cologne's toughest neighborhoods, Necati quickly learned that survival wasn't just about staying alive. It was about commanding respect, breaking bones when needed, and bending rules no one dared even question. But here's the thing, Necati wasn't satisfied with just making it through the day. By the time he hit his early 20s, he wasn't just known for his strength. He was making waves for his sharp mind and an almost ruthless hunger to dominate. His ability to read the underworld like a chessboard, combined with an unflinching readiness to use violence, set him apart. And that deadly mix? It's exactly what caught the attention of the Hells Angels, a club famous for its fierce loyalty, but also its brutal control over Germany's criminal scene. The Hells Angels aren't your typical biker gang. Since their start in 1948, they've grown into a worldwide network of outlawed chapters, bound together by loyalty, violence, and a sharp eye for business. Earning your patch isn't just about riding a bike, it's about proving yourself through a history of crime, toughness, and relentless ambition. Necati wasn't just another tough guy who climbed the ranks through muscle or blind loyalty. He brought something different to the table. Sure, he could throw down when needed, but what made him stand out was his street smarts, combined with a near corporate-level control over criminal operations. This was a guy who wasn't just fighting for scraps. He was running entire territories, calling the shots in nightlife scenes, drug trafficking, and even sex trafficking rings. Necati was a strategist as much as a biker, and that made him dangerous on a whole nother level. One of the darkest chapters of Necati's rule was his iron grip on Cologne's nightlife, especially the Kohler Ringe, the city's buzzing district packed with clubs, bars, and a shadowy undercurrent few outsiders ever see. This wasn't just about partying. It was a world where protection rackets thrived and human trafficking quietly flourished. Necati didn't just send in thugs to muscle up the scene. His crew of enforcers and bouncers were more than just hired strength. They were trusted lieutenants who ran the streets with precision. Police investigations later revealed that his gang was deeply involved in running prostitution rings tied directly to the city's nightclubs. This wasn't random crime, it was a carefully woven empire. Behind the scenes, Necati acted like a cold, calculating CEO. He handled everything from contracts for muscle and protection fees to enforcing a brutal, silent code that kept everyone in line. And when that code was broken, the consequences were terrifying and deadly. The law eventually caught up with Necati, no surprise there. In 2002, German authorities arrested him on serious charges: pimping, human trafficking, weapons offenses, extortion, and racketeering. By 2004, he was sentenced to 9 years behind bars. But prison didn't silence him. If anything, it made him even more dangerous. From inside, Necati allegedly plotted something chilling, a plan to assassinate the very prosecutor who was building the case against him. He's said to have hired a hitman all the way from Duisburg, Albania, proving that even locked up, he could pull strings with deadly precision. Luckily for justice, police bugged his communications just in time, uncovering the plot and ramping up protection for the prosecutor. The assassination attempt was stopped dead in its tracks, but it showed just how far Necati was willing to go to protect his empire, even from behind bars. Necati wasn't just about muscle and terror. What really made him stand out was his sharp mind and ability to adapt. While many leaders might fall when faced with rival gangs, Necati played a different game. Instead of constant war, he built alliances, even with groups you'd expect him to clash with, like the United Tribunes. These partnerships helped him tighten his hold and keep tougher gangs like Satudara MC at bay. He balanced brutality with diplomacy in a way few could, understanding that raw violence alone doesn't keep you on top for long. His rule wasn't confined to one city or country. It stretched from Istanbul to Cologne, Berlin, and beyond. Necati became a key link between Eastern and Western crime scenes, moving drugs, weapons, and people across continents, running a shadowy empire that few could match. After serving his prison sentence and being deported to Turkey, Necati didn't disappear into the shadows. Around 2010, he made a powerful comeback, stepping up to lead the Hells Angels Nomads chapter in Turkey, a group known for its loose structure and focus on international operations. This move gave Necati a much bigger stage. He was no longer just a German crime boss. He became a major player connecting Hells Angels networks across Europe and the Middle East. By 2013, after the fall of Frank Hannebut, the previous European Hells Angels leader, Necati's name began to circle as the natural successor. With the experience of prison hardening him and a sharp strategic mind, he looked unstoppable. In fact, by 2015, Spanish authorities had issued a Europe-wide arrest warrant, accusing him of drug trafficking, extortion, and human trafficking in Spain. Yet Turkey refused to extradite him, leaving Necati free to keep pulling the strings from afar. Necati's fear factor isn't just about the court cases or police files. It's the stuff people whisper about in dark alleys and over backroom conversations with cops. Imagine rival gangs thinking they could push back against him. Their response? Not arguments or threats, but brutal beatings, carefully planned hits, and in some cases, people simply vanishing without a trace. Inside his own crew, trust was like walking on thin ice. Any hint of disloyalty was met with cold, unforgiving consequences, disappearances, or worse, sending a loud and clear warning that betrayal wouldn't be tolerated under his watch. That ruthless zero-tolerance approach gave him a grip tighter than iron, and it terrified everyone who knew the game. Even years later, the echoes of his reign still haunt the city's red light districts and biker hangouts. Those who once rode under his banner talk about a leader who demanded absolute respect and made sure loyalty was paid in full. No exceptions, no mercy. Necati Arabaci's story isn't just about crime. It's a powerful reminder of what power really costs. It shows how power can consume and corrupt, but also how it demands control and respect. Behind the leather patches and the roar of motorcycles, the Hells Angels run a business that's just as ruthless as any corporate giant. Only their currency is fear and violence, not profits and dividends. Necati's rise and reign pull back the curtain on the darker side of outlaw biker culture, a brotherhood bound by blood, where loyalty and terror often look the same. It's a world where justice struggles to catch up to a leader who's always thinking 3 steps ahead, playing a dangerous game few can survive. Final thoughts. The Godfather's legacy.